Alright, here we go. If you watched example 1, then this is example 2. Otherwise, this is your example 1. I am going to start with stating the end behavior in arrow notation. And to do that, I'm going to look at, first off, the sign up here isn't understood to be positive. So with my two blanks, my right blank is going to point arrow up. And because of the exponent being even means both. That means the left arrow is also up. So I have up, up for that one. I'm going to erase that so I've got some room to write and be a little less congested. Get rid of that E there. And let's get back to drawing. So this is a 1 x to the 4th. That is my Q. And the factors of Q are +1 and -1. Now I'll get to the plus minus in a moment. Looking back here at the back, the 24, that is my Q. Sorry, that is my P. And the factors of P are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. With that information, I can now build my P over Q list. There we go. Let's see. So what I'm going to have is all of my P's over my Q of 1, which really just means my list of P's. So I have plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, plus or minus 4, plus or minus 6, plus or minus 8, plus or minus 12, plus or minus 24. So synthetic division. Let's go with 1 x to the 4th plus 2x cubed minus 13x squared minus 14x plus 24. And I do notice that I have a 4 exponent, 3 exponent, 2 exponent, a 1 exponent, and a constant, all in descending order, so I don't need to fill in any values with a 0, and everything's in standard form. Starting with a plus 1, bring down the 1 for synthetic division. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 plus 1 is 3, 1 times 3 is 3, negative 13 plus 3 is negative 10. Positive 1 times a negative 10 is negative 10. Negative 14 minus 10 is negative 24. 1 times negative 24 is negative 24. That gives me a 0, and that is a 0 or a root. Next up, I'm going to use, I'm going to use these values here for my next synthetic division. So I have 1, 3, negative 10, negative 24. I'm going to go back to positive 1, bringing down the 1. 1 times 1 is 1, 3 plus 1 is 4. Positive 1 times a positive 4 is 4. Negative 10 plus 4 is negative 6. 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. That is not going to give me a 0. Starting back with 1, 3, negative 10, negative 24. Going with negative 1. Bring down the 1. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Negative 10 minus 2 is negative 12. Negative 1 times negative 12 is a positive 12. Does not give me a 0. Looking at, again, let's change colors so we don't get this too confusing. 1, 3, negative 10, negative 24. Going with positive 2 this time. Bring down the 1. So a positive 2 times 1 is 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. Negative 10 plus 10 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. Not going to give me a root. Bringing it up top, I have 1. Let's go with red. I have 1, 3, negative 10, negative 24. Going with negative 2 this time, bring down the 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 10 minus 2 is negative 12. Negative 2 times negative 12 is a positive 24. Gives me a 0. So I have 2 of my zeros. How many do I expect? I expect to have that many right there. 4. That's my highest exponent. That's how many roots I expect to find. Let's go. So now I'm going to use these values for my next synthetic division. 1, 1, negative 12. And I just want to put a side note in here. I can take this and make that 1x squared plus 1x minus 12. That becomes x squared plus x minus 12, and I can factor that. I'll let you work that out, but just know that when you get it down to 3 values, you can try to pull that aside, and if it does factor, you can go ahead and do it that way. If it doesn't, you'll need to come back to synthetic division. So I left off at negative 2. I'm going to go to 3. Bring down the 1. 3 times 1 is 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Gives me a 0. So that is 3 of my 4 roots. And now I can take what's left. That gives me x plus 4. I can set that equal to 0. Subtract 4 from both sides. I got x equals negative 4. So my roots, to write them out, are x equals 1, x equals negative 2, x equals 3, and x equals negative 4. And we're done. That's all there is to it. Good luck.